Real men. Real men love felines, cats, pussies. Welcome to your Vape at 5. I am your host. I'm BlackCat. I feel like I haven't talked to you in a long time. I feel like you guys have been like left alone, abandoned, not thought about. Well, I've thought about you. I've thought about you immensely, Jane Dodd. I've thought about you a lot. I'm glad. I'm back. I'm here for your Vape at 5. It's Friday. It's Friday. Thank God. Ready to party. You guys ready to party? Now, let me stop that little madness over there. All kinds of stuff going on in my peripherals. I took care of that. On Friday, typically, we would do a free rigged Friday where you could have the possibility of winning things. Well, we're going to do that on the Facebook page after this episode. But in the meantime, today, I'm going to do what I was going to do. I'm going to do what I was going to do on Wednesday. And that is, I'm going to review the Fallout by Purge. Let's see if I can get that to focus in. Look at that beauty, man. Isn't she gorgeous? Well, come on. It was focused and then it went out of focus. I'm going to be reviewing this today. So I'm going to take you down to the mat here. I'm going to show you what it comes with, what it comes in. And then I'll just give you some information about the mod. I used it now for about a week. I spoke to Gary. Gary, I don't know if he's in the chat, but he's the one who basically told me I could go ahead and review this. And it's actually his mod. He won it in a waffle. So before I sent it to him, he's like, go ahead and review it, and then send it to me when you're done. So really, really excited to use it. I had a really nice user experience with it. I think I got some good information for you about the mod. It's a Mech mod, so there's not a whole lot that we're really going to discuss as far as how it works. I mean, you know how it works. You hit the switch. You use battery safety, obviously, with an RDA on top, and you take a hit, and then you release the switch. That's how it works. It's very basic, and that is really the beauty of mechanical mods. So, without further ado, let's take it down. You guys know I like to take it down. I'm going to take it down to the table. We're going to talk about the Purge mod. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to the macro. All right, guys, here we are. This is the case that comes with all Purge mods. It's one of those, I forget the exact name of it. It kind of appears like it's a gun case or something to that extent. Really, really nice touch, though. It has these two levers or hinges on it here that hold it together. Back here. On the back here, it's signed by the person that put it together. And it gives you the number, Mr. Fallout, number 141. So really, really nice touch. Open it up here just like you would a gun case. And I forget what the name of these are. I mentioned that again. If somebody can throw that in the chat, I appreciate it. Inside here, you're not going to get BlackCat white face coils, but you will get an 18650 adapter. This is a 21700, or 18650 Mech mod. So you can do all three. It gives you a little versatility. Inside here, you're going to get a Purge, the new authenticity card that Purge provides. So it gives you a little information about the company here, and then on the very back page here, it gives you your certification. Brass Fallout 141. It was set for retail of $116.19, and I got it from Fast Eddie's. If you don't know Fast Eddie's, they are the number one, or actually the go-to distributor for Purge mods. So if you're looking for one, they will certainly have the latest inventory and just a great place to purchase mods. All right, let's take it down and look at the mod here. Get you in, focus in here the best I can. All right, so here is the Fallout by Purge mods. Real quick dimensions on it. It's 29 millimeters in diameter. Across the top here is 28.5. It is 104 millimeters from bottom to top. Yes, it is fairly large. It is not a small Mech mod. The weight on it is considerable. So the weight on it is 11 ounces, about 5 ounces less than a pound. The switch alone, which I'll show you here, is 4.5 ounces. I mean, it is a big, beefy switch, which if you have any purges, you know exactly what I'm talking about. What I want to do is I'm going to take you down in as best I can. I'm going to focus this in or dial it in best I can. And I just want to show you the detail of the mod here. So let's kind of walk through. This is all CNC engraving all over this brass. It is a full brass unit. And if you look here, look at that all the way around it. It's got almost that like lizard skin type feel, look to it, all the way around the mod. Then another really nice touch. If you look at the fallout, do you see the little indentations there on the lettering? How fucking cool is that? I mean, just extreme attention to detail and beauty. Also, I'm going to see if I can get this. Let me get it as close as I can. But what I'm going to point out, and you may not be able to see it. Sorry for the camera shake. Along the edge here, there's lines in the edging. And those aren't done by accident. Those are actually intentionally put in there to give it like a bevel all the way around. And just look at the detail on this thing. It's just absolutely amazing. Pull you up a bit. The top of it here says Purge mod, and you have your serial number. Again, on the Purge mods, they give you those little indentations on the lettering, which is really, really cool. Pardon my hand and refocusing. This is a manual focus camera, so I have to manually focus it, obviously, or it won't focus. So I'm trying to give you the best picture of it I possibly can. The switch. So I mentioned that this is a 4.5 ounce switch. The key or the main selling factor of this mod, aside from its aesthetics, is that it provides the first constant contact switch by Purge. This constant contact switch is compatible with the Kraken, the Viper, and the Back to Basics V4. We'll set that to the side and we'll talk about it here in just 1 second. So, if you've ever owned a Purge mod, you're going to know a couple things about it that remain fairly consistent. Well, not even fairly consistent, that are extremely consistent, is how big and beefy the threading is. And I really hope I can get that in there so you guys can see this. I'm working on getting a better camera setup, guys, for you. But if you can look in there, look how nice that threading is. Just absolutely gorgeous. Into the tube, you see the dimensions change. That dimension chain, that little indentation there, takes away all battery rattle. There's really no battery rattle at all. With the switch pushes all the way up against the battery, and with the 21700 in here, actually I'll put one in. So this is a 30T. You'll see that right there. I mean, there is just very little. And when you put the switch up against it, it holds it super tight. So that is, and you see that battery is flush with that little indentation there. Isn't that nice? All right, well, that is the mod. Now, let's take a look at this constant contact switch. So, what you have here is Ultim Top, big, beefy copper pin. Inside of here is 3 magnets, 1 huge magnet and 2 smaller magnets. On the bottom here, again, look at that big, beefy threading. Just absolutely gorgeous. Focus that in. Look at that threading on it. Just beautiful. I'm telling you, this thing is beefy, man. 4.5 ounces. On the bottom here, says Purge. Gives you that little mushroom cloud there. One of their signature emblems. For comfort, there's indentations cut around the button. So your finger lays just right up against that and then pushes it in. So you can see that there, and there's 3 of them, 1 on pretty much every side. So when you're firing it, your finger's going to lay in here, and you're just going to fire it. The throw on it is extremely shallow. Now, if you look at that, that's probably 3 millimeters from the above here. That's your throw. Very smooth and very, very short. Super nice. Now, I have planned on taking this apart and showing you the magnets and how everything in here. I will caveat that by saying that whenever you're dealing with magnets, then you can have problems if they do slam together that they could break. So that's something I've done with a Purge mod, not in a while, but I have done it before. So if that happens, I apologize. This is Gary's mod, and I will have to buy him some more magnets, but that's a possibility whenever. And these magnets, because I took it apart before, and the magnets are extremely strong. To get in here, I should probably tell you this, get a pair of ceramic tweezers, just put them into those two little holes here, and just turn it counterclockwise. There we go. All right, pop out, and you'll see here that the magnets are extremely strong. So you have two magnets here stacked on top of each other. And I'm just going to leave them in there because I don't want them coming out and getting reversed and slamming up and breaking. You also have your big, meaty copper contact pin. Look how thick that Ultim is. Look at that. And it is a big, beefy piece of Ultim there, given that insulation on that contact. Beautifully done. Inside here is your button housing, which is absolutely gorgeous. And this is the first. Now, normally there's no levers, no switches, no anything in here at all. Everything just sits very, very flush and nice. And that is your brass housing for your button. And then when I talked about the big beefy battery, look at this bastard. Look at that. That thing is freaking giant. And there again, look at the machining on that. How nice and clean that is. Isn't that gorgeous? So place that back in there. Drop that back into your cake here. Did I say cake? Yes, I did. And I'm going to set that back in here. And when I go to push it down, I'm pushing against probably at least a pound of pressure. At least a pound of pressure to push that back in there. Maybe more like a pound and a half. I mean, those batteries those magnets are massive. Now, you don't want to force it too far. Feel it catch a little bit and stop. Just stop doing it. And that is the new constant contact switch. You can purchase these constant contact switch from Purge or from Fast Eddie's, I believe from ChainVapes for $140. They come with the Fallout mod. This, you can take it right now and put it into a Back to Basic, a Kraken, or a Viper, and it will work. It will also work moving forward. They're going to stick with this constant contact switch. I don't know if they're going to switch over to all of those for their mods, but every 21700 mod will be compatible. All right, I believe that is everything I wanted to tell you about it. Let's go ahead and put this back together, and then I'll bring you back up top. I'm going to put an Addy on this, and we will talk about it. Why don't we do this first? I'm going to go ahead and I want to show you one thing about the button. Now, when you put a 21700 mod in it, or a battery in it, first thing I'm going to do, and I actually forgot, so I'm kind of glad I did, is you're not going to screw the battery all the way in until you do what? Until you put an Addy on top, because you want to make sure your Addy is securely in there and flush before you put the button in and push the battery up against it. One of the drawbacks of the mod, and you'll see here, this is a 25 millimeter cap, 25 millimeter diameter. Look at the underhang on that. This top here is 28.5. Another thing to point out is here is your air holes for your battery. Right there. There is 3, 1 on each side here. Now, when I screw this in with a 30T, I'm going to have a little bit of room there, so it doesn't go all the way flush. And I don't particularly like that. I noticed it immediately, and I typically don't pay attention to detail. But for a mod that is this price, I caught that. And I was like, well, you know, you would think that for a 30T is not a very big, it's not as big as like a Galeese. I mean, it's the same length. You think that it would all fit up against there. I thought that was a little bit strange that there's a little bit of distance between the two. So that is the Fallout. Let's go back up top and talk about it. All right, so that's uppy closey with the Fallout. Let's take a hit off this thing. This thing, with this constant contact switch, if you've ever used a Purge before, you know Purge hit pretty hard regardless. If you've used the silver spring in a Purge mod upgrade from the regular magnets, you know that that is a significant change in how it hits. I have a silver spring in all my Purges, and I feel that this one hits harder than the other 21700 Purges that I have with the Silver Spring. So there is a noticeable difference with the constant contact switch. So this is a 0.1 build on a 21700 30T. Let's take a rip off this and I'll show you what you can do. I mean, you can hear it. Immediately, this rips as soon as you fire it. So there is extremely little ramp up with this switch. One of the major benefits, really effective way of doing it, really well done and beautiful. I mean, the switch, everything about the mod is aesthetically pleasing to me and beautiful. Well done, great machining, and everything that you really come to expect from Purge. So let's go through the pros and cons of the Fallout. The first con is something that I noticed almost immediately when I took it out of the box. Is I got it out, I put an RDA on it, got a battery on it, sat it on my table, and it kept falling over. And if you just barely bump it, it falls over. The reason being is, one, it's 104 millimeters tall. It's huge. And even though it has a 29 or 28.5 millimeter base, it's too tall. Also, those little gaps there at the bottom there that allow your fingers to slide in there so nicely when you hit it, those also, you know, apt to falling over. So it does fall. I saw on a thread somewhere, somebody called it the fall over instead of the fall out. I thought that was kind of funny, but ironically true, that it does fall over quite a bit. This is not a mod that really can go without attention. You're going to have to make sure that you put it on a nice flat surface, preferably up against something, or it will fall over. And when you have something that weighs 11 ounces, solid brass, falling over on things, you drop this on your floor, it's going to scuff your floor. I mean, it could, you're dropping an 11-pound piece of brass onto something. So that is not something that you really want to do. The feel when firing. Now, this was my biggest concern of this mod. These little, like, lizard skin edges here, these little diamonds, when you go to fire it, the only way to fire it, obviously, is from the bottom switch. Well, when you push up against it, it really is rough on your hands. It's something that becomes more and more noticeable the more that you use it, and you never really get used to it because it's a pinching feeling, especially after you've done it 20, 30 times. You really start to feel it. The feel in the hand is not great. It really isn't. Even with that nice, I do like how that you fire it and how that has that little indentation there where you're not reaching in to fire the button. I always think that's odd that you have to do that with mechanical mods. I like that you lay it across and pull up and it fires. Again, the throw on it is extremely smooth and extremely short, but you will feel, I'll promise you, I've asked other people as well who have them, you will feel a pinching motion when you fire it. You will. It's just that's how those little diamond points dig into your hand, and there's really nothing you can do about it. The 28.5 millimeter top. This is probably the second biggest con on it. It's 28.5 millimeters on the top. It's big, and it doesn't really. I don't really know of a whole lot 28.5 millimeter RDAs aside from one that comes from Purge. I believe the Money Shot is 28.5, or they make a Money Shot that's 28.5. I think the Carnage is 28.5. That doesn't really play into, being a hybrid mod of multiple types. You see how a 25 millimeter RDA looks on it. It doesn't look right. And the only reason I did is because I love the Turk. So I kept it on there and I like using it. So I was like, I'm just going to use the Turk on it. I'm not taking it out anywhere. But if I were to dress this up to take it out, you really have a tough time searching for an RDA unless you got the Carnage. That plays into another con because nobody wants to vape the Carnage. It's garbage. And nobody really wants to vape the Money Shot because it's garbage as well. So that is a big con to me, that there's really not. I guess you could try the Arden. The Arden is 28 millimeters. I believe it's really close to 28.5 millimeters. The problem with that is that if you put an Arden on top of this, that it would literally be 6 feet tall. It would be taller than me. It would be. It would be so big, it would look odd. It would almost look like a stack that wasn't a stack. And it just wouldn't be aesthetically pleasing. I think it would look terrible. Even if you got brass to match it, I don't think that would look good. So those are the cons. The pros on this device, one, is the aesthetics And if you don't like the aesthetic, so I think there's some argument that can be made about the look of the mod. I like it. I like it. I think it's beautiful, and I think it is extremely well done. When I first saw it and really got uppy-closey with it online, I was like, that is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. The attention to detail, the machining, and how clean and beautiful it is, to me, is impressive, and it's certainly a pro. But you could argue that people don't like it, and I've heard people say they don't like it. So I guess it could go either way. But for me, since I like it, and this is my opinion, I'm going to mark that as a pro. The constant contact switch. Now here is the major pro of purchasing this device. You get the constant contact switch. The constant contact switch is about $120 to $140. It works with 3 other mods, the Kraken, the Viper, and the Back to Basics. There's all kinds of Back to Basics. That's a fantastic mod. Really, quite frankly, the Back to Basics is my favorite Purge mod, V4. It is. I think it's a fantastic mod. It works with it. So you can use that constant contact switch and rotate it through your other mech mods, your other Purge mech mods. So that is a huge pro. The constant contact switch is effective. It works better than a spring, works better than the silver spring, and it certainly works better than the normal Purge switch. So got to be a huge plus there. They price this at $360 retail. $360. It's overpriced. It is. And I'm not saying that against other Purge mods. I'm saying in general. You could probably ask me 10 different Purge mods, and I probably would say, I think it's overpriced. I think it's overpriced. I think at $360, it's overpriced. I think it's not a significantly good value. Now, if you have one, you like it, then it's worth it. You know, that's all. That's your opinion, and you've decided to spend that amount of money. If you think it's worth it, it's worth it. In my opinion, for $360, it's just not worth it. I could see it maybe in the $280 range, and I would think now you're starting to get down into the ballpark where it seems more reasonable at that price, even with the constant contact switch, because I think that's way overpriced as well. Nothing on it's silver, so I don't see how it should be $120 to $140. But that's their price point, and that's where you're marketing at. Rating this on a scale of poor, meaning it will hurt you and kill you, all the way to excellent, meaning you can't live without it. This is a good mech mod. I would say it's a fair to good mech mod, certainly. Things that draw back from is the feel. The feel's bad. The cost is bad, and it falls over all the time. And those things will bring it down to like right between a fair and a good rating. So that, my friends, is the Fallout by Purge. And of course, it won't focus. I love you. Thank you. See you soon.